Hello, Namaste. I welcome you all to the 89th session of Guruboda. We have with us today Dr. M.B. Guraja sir and Dr. Raghuram sir. This session is brought to you by easyayurveda.com. I dedicate this and all of my works to the holy feet of Dr. H. Chandrasekhar Udupa. This class is made live exclusively available to Easy Ayurveda weekly class subscribers. So coming to the topic of the day, there is a famous Twitter account called as World of Statistics, and it keeps on churning out interesting statistics from various departments, starting from poverty to mental status to scientific advancement. It keeps covering a variety of topics. So in one of the topics, it explained about the antidepressant uses per thousand people. So per thousand people, how many people use antidepressants, antidepressant medication? So India, it is 9. So 9 per thousand. So it is somewhere around 0.9 percentage. Then Latvia is 21, Russia is 23. So average, as you can see, South Korea is 27. So it's around 2 percentage mark, 2 to 4%, and it keeps on increasing. And when it come to actually the advanced countries, what we call, starting from Greece 70, Finland 81, Sweden is 105, Australia, so on and so forth. USA is like 110 per thousand. That is more than 1.1% there. So it keeps on increasing. One argument on this is that, well, in the countries like India, where population is huge, there is a lack of awareness of depression. So patients may or may not go to psychiatrists for depression treatment, even if the person has depression. The other argument is that more the population, then more people around us to share our opinions, values, feelings, and care each other. So probably the depression is less. If there's a case there's a person in Australia who who runs a tea shop near a cliff or near a mountain area. That mountain area is very famously known as suicidal spot. So whenever somebody comes to suicide, he casually offers them tea and talks to them. This tea shop owner talks to them, and he has saved more than 500 people from suicide just by talking. So while serious kind of depression is life threatening, and people commit suicide is the most life threatening, and care for depression is very much necessary. This is also true. It is as serious a disease as any other disease can be, but rampant usage of antidepressants should also be controlled, and natural therapies, counseling, other things also come into picture here. Gururaj sir, your thoughts on this topic, please.
So first of all, regarding there's only 9 members using in India, and the number may not be accurate. The reason being plenty. Even the many drugs are being sold over the counter many a times, and there is no proper documentation that how many persons are taking the medicines or how many persons are purchasing these antidepressants. We don't have such exact data. Even it is sometimes even that is something like that. They will go to medical stores and ask for the thing with the previous prescription as it is, and the person will definitely issue the new stocks, so that and even that is not properly recorded. So that may be the reason for that one thing. The other round point is that we have a huge family background setup, and the economical and social style of living in India is comparatively a different scenario when compared to the people who move in the advanced countries. So what I observed is the most technically advanced, studied, and much more degrees, and when they try to evolve themselves, and most of them they'll get away from the God, something like that. They become atheist and something like that. See, previously in Indian and setup and in culture, is that something which is beyond our control, or beyond our ability to handle it. We will pass it on to God. We will keep the things to the God, and the burden or the stress is forwarded to God and asked to help us. So such type of things, if it is not that he is not a person who don't believe in a God and all those things, then definitely he don't have any other left out thing that he can transfer his stress and his problems. Probably that maybe that many a times people are going away from the religion and religious based thoughts and all those things all over the world. Maybe that's the reason. Then another important thing is that high expectations and unable to meet those expectations, leading to a lot of disturbances. So we need to curtail on that, and that comes out from the moral upbringing. So from the childhood, we need to develop them in such a manner that how to respond to the elders, how to behave with the elders, and what should be the moral ethics in the life, and how one should behave, how you should behave when you don't have anything, and how you should behave. All these things. There are so many plenty of ways of upbringing, and if this is done in a proper manner, definitely the child of the next generation will have that. A real type of religious nature and belief, and definitely they'll come to the whenever there is a problem, they will throw that problem to the God and ask them to help. So such type of thing, if it is there, then automatically there's a depression won't come. Otherwise, for every simple things also, the people will get depressed. So that depression, definitely when people are consuming most of antidepressants, and usually these antidepressants are not for a 1 day or 2 day or like that. Initially they started for maybe by prescription or without prescription for few days, but later it becomes their part and parcel of the life, and it will be for months together and years together, and ultimately they're in the clutches of those things, unable to come out of that. So it is something like a double sword edge. So it may be beneficial in the early stages.
Yes, sir. And to add a few points to that, yeah, family values and being together with the parents, etc., is such an important thing. And in one of the interviews with Aishwarya Rai, in one of the interviews with Aishwarya Rai in probably in US, I think, some Larry King interviewing Aishwarya Rai. She was asked casually, like, is it normal in India that even elder children in their teens also or in college life also living with parents? It was asked in a mocking way, like in a jokish way. There's nothing wrong any child, howsoever old he may be or she may be, living with a family. It's just a support system which acts very well. And I've been told by a German himself that in Germany many of the people suffer with two things. One is anxiety and excess rule following. If some German is there, please excuse me if these things are wrong. It was just told to me by German, just that I'm putting across here. Excess rule following, like we have like a waste bin collection. In India we have in some cities two, or in some cities 3 bins for waste collection: wet waste, dry waste, and sharp equipments and other things. But in Germany they have, I think, 7 types of different bins. So everything is like rules followed to perfection. If the rules are not followed, they feel anxiety. And this marital relationship is on the verge of breaking worldwide, not only Germany, in all other places also. And the living relationship, and then it doesn't turn into marriage. Even with the marriage also, if divorced, then the husband loses half of his net worth into the to settle the divorce. So on and so forth. A lot of social issues causing people not to get married. Especially in Finland, also there was this huge thing. I think there's a bounty for people to get married. If they marry, they get something kind of a bonus, or some rule is there. Japan also has this huge issue. One is population decline, and more elderly people and less young people around, and lack of family structure is hurting Japan to a very great extent. And there's a study by 2040 or 2050, the Japan population will be halved, it will be reduced by 50% rather than what it is there now. So that itself is a big thing. And there's a famous comedian from Finland. I forgot his name. Ismo. His name is like Ismo. He does stand-up comedy shows. He says that in Finland, he's from Finland originally. In Finland, he explains in a joke that they do not do small talk with each other, like hello, hi, how are you, how is your day going. They do not do small talk. In that, he gives an example of 2 people, he, Ismo himself, and another person. were trapped in a lift for like 4.5 hours together. So those two were trapped in a lift for 4.5 hours, and after 4 hours, this Ismo thought that maybe it's a good idea to say hi, hello to the other person. Meaning, in that joke, he explained that for 4 hours he didn't talk. Then he thought about another few minutes, and then he decided better not to talk at all. So this lack of communication, lack of sharing and caring is also another big problem. Related to small things blow up into big things there, and they have nobody to share. That gets out of control. And also, there is this. Currently, also there is this big debate in the U.S. U.S. people can correct me that there is this people, especially young people and children, are rewarded just for participation, and there is no merit based rank system, or only hard work pays the pays rewards. That thing is going away, and even in India also it is becoming a quite a common thing that we parents have done all the hard work, they have shed the blood, sweat and tears to come up to this high position, so they want the children to have all the rewards. So they are in a way creating this spoiled brats who do not know what is pain or loss or suffering. So they do not have till they are 18, 19, till they go to college, or even till they come to the job market after their college. Till that time, they have not known any failures at all. So all these things lead to suddenly they are exposed to this marriage and relationship and work and boss scolding for not getting the work done. All those things makes them very depressed. So life experience and interrelationships also play a huge role in avoiding depression, sir.
So usually family values will definitely will play a lot of role in keeping a person very active and avoiding these depression type of things. And of course, in India, we have got such a chunk of people that if some JCB work is going also, then also there will be hundreds of people will be watching that. So such type of human population is there, and that's why we are been some sort of depression. Maybe it is in the size, maybe the population. So definitely, family values will definitely play a role. But now that nuclear families are getting more and more in the cities, and that's the reason we are also facing such type of depressions and committing suicide and so many other issues we're also facing nowadays. And just because of those things, where the family values and the caring and sharing for people is lost, definitely it is going to harm the person as well as the society.
Yeah, and while doing a research on these antidepressants, these SSRI, serum serotonin reuptake inhibitors, they are one of the biggest form of antidepressants, which are like very famous. This is an article from Guardian. It says the chemical imbalance theory of depression is dead, but that doesn't mean antidepressants don't work. So in that and many other articles have been published about like how SSRIs are maybe they are not as effective as they were thought to be in increasing the serotonin level in the brain to treat the depression. There is again for and against argument towards this still, with despite all the research, etc. So at least with Ayurveda we can try with therapies such as Vamana Virechana and Basti, etc. based on the doshas. Raghuram Acharya Charaka explains in great detail how Unmada, all those things, Vishada, all those things can be treated with Vamana Virechana, and this one based on the dosha aggravation, which dosha is aggravated, and also how there are these therapies such as Nasya, Shirodhara, Shiro Abhyanga, Shiro Pichu, so on and so forth. So along with giving something orally, these therapies also play a huge important role. Raghuram sir, please.
Absolutely, yes, sir. There are many points we need to see about depression. You personally have covered so many points. Guru sir also has covered so many points regarding depression. Coming to the therapies, absolutely, yes, Vamana Virechana or whatever, according to the doshic therapy, if we are handling the things, so practically seen, a course of Vamana, Virechana, maybe Vasti, Shirodhara, or combination of these therapies, or spaced therapies like one after the other. So if they're done, one is basically as therapies they will work out. Number two, for some people as a placebo effect also it might work out. So because people want to, those who are depressed or those who are very anxious or suffering from psychological disorders want to be pampered, very importantly, and want to be taken care of. So when we see what is depression, since we are speaking about this, it is exactly opposite of a state of being happy. I also feel that depression, just like happiness many times is a choice, depression is also many times a choice. So people declare that they are depressed and they are happy being depressed, some people. And some people are seeking attention for or seeking remedies for depression. So these are the ideal clients for us, those who are seeking, not those who are preferring to be depressed, but those who are seeking the remedies. So they are the clients for us whom we can help out. As you and Guruji sir rightly pointed out, being amidst the family, putting a contradictory point to this. So I had many patients who tell that family itself is a depression. Like father and mother are depression, grandfather is a depression, grandmother is a depression, wife is a depression, husband is a depression, kids are depression for us. So what to do? So this is also another theory. Whether being in families, amidst the families, what's of these conditions like depression, anxiety, fear, panic, and many other conditions. Yes, we have spoken about talking. Guruji sir also mentioned talk. You also mentioned the word talk. So there need to be people whom we can talk, but is the person ready to hear? That is also. So it's a biphasic phenomenon. One person is telling and another person should be eager to hear and grasp. As I said, depression is a choice. Number one, it can be circumstantial. Most of the times it is circumstantial. It develops due to the different circumstances and the environment in which the kid or the youngster is growing, if it is in that particular age group. So suicidal tendency is one thing which you mentioned in one of the PowerPoints. I always keep telling, if a person has a courage to commit suicide, that is the highest level of courage. So to take away your own life or even to attempt a suicide, it needs utmost courage. So these people are the most courageous people. The person who commits suicide is the most courageous person. Only thing is the courage is channelized in a negative way. That's it. And there should be some people, a doctor, a counselor, a family member, a close friend, okay, a boyfriend or a girlfriend who can sit and advise those people what it is. And they too should have patient hearing. We have seen definitely in psychiatry, be it depression, anxiety or whatever problem, the patience of hearing, grasping, assimilating and bringing it into practice will be very, very less. It needs to be a very constant process. So deleting the depression waves and also anxiety waves and slowly introducing the happy waves, you too can be a happy person like the other people. So that is a very important thought here. So the circumstances need to be changed, the nature needs to be changed, the person should be more responsible and should volunteer, just like an alcoholic or a smoking de-addiction program. The person should know, he or she, that I am suffering from depression, I need to get out of this problem. That is very, very important. A self-realization that I am suffering from depression. Somebody tell him or her that you are depressed and you have this problem. There is definitely a way out. We are there for you. Very important. I am there for you. I will help. I will take you to some help. Please hear, listen to the help. I have done a few television programs on depression, like talks in Kannada channels. Many people who came to counseling sessions, they started weeping. So that weeping, throwing out their emotions and bursting out will open up the channels, Manoha Srotas, and probably there is somebody to hear, somebody to attend. As per this question, Dr. Hebbar, I just wanted to touch the preamble and come back to this topic. Panchakarma, yes, definitely will help. As many people think they may be, they are not default treatments for physical. The Palashruti goes with each and everything, the eligibility and non-eligibility and the Palashruti itself. That is, the benefits of these therapies will clearly indicate that definitely they have very good results, and it is not only theory, it is practical experience of many of us that these yield very good results. Shirodhara and Murti Tela and Nasya therapies, outstanding results they give. And one of the objective and criteria met is the person wants to come out of that mentally disturbed zone and want some attention seeking. No problem with us. So we will give the attention and at the same time talk. Therapy room is one of the important place where a doctor can speak, a therapist can speak while doing the therapy, while pampering the person with a Shirodhara or Shirovasti. The person cannot escape. So we can talk. So we can talk and introduce positiveness. So therapy room is very important, just like the consultation room. I have done that. Going into the therapy room, personally a doctor doing a dhara, it will bring tears in the eyes of the patient. The person will think We are not trying to prove that I am greater than your family member, or I am more taking more care of you than your close friend. We are telling that there is a way out, man. So there is definitely a way out, and these are the ways out. And you too can be happy. Many people around you are happy. You can be happy. So depression or keeping low. So depression here itself, it indicates a depressed condition where the things are very low, like shut down. So only thing we need to do is evoke, provoke, and introduce positiveness, health, happiness, almost everything into these things. The family, yes, matters, and the family relationships which are disturbed also matters. Again, marital relationship is a very important point made by Dr. Hebbar. So here is a place where the talking table, two chairs or three chairs and a talking table, is very, very important within the family. When there are disturbed relationships, there may be depression, and one person definitely is prone to go and commit suicide tomorrow morning or day after tomorrow. This need to be watched. Later, if the parents repent, my child has locked the room and hung himself or herself to a fan, or took poison or the pills, there is no sense. Even in the Purva Rupa itself, in the pre-stage itself, observe those signs and symptoms, or those small signs which indicate the person is depressed. Sit, talk, put a hand on the shoulder. That is what is needed. A smile, a talk, a casual walk out with the person and speaking, and all those things. And very important is the person realizing all by himself or herself and seeking help. Very important. There are groups which can help. There are persons who can help. There are help groups where we can reach out. If a person feels I am depressed, I am having, because even a depressed person is Googling, because the depressed person is seeking consultation. If they can feel that I need help, I need to reach out to the best possible person. There is no harm in that. There are people. It doesn't mean the doctor whom the person is consulting is a happy person in the universe. No. But that person may be the best person who can give the advice and bring happiness to this person. So that is the chemistry which needs to be worked out. The Chikitsa Chatushpada needs to be worked out. And of course, these therapies are very, very, very important. And some oral medications to bring about a balance in the doshas, balance in the Mansika doshas, Sharirika doshas, pampering, giving attention, speaking, counseling, all these things work together. And definitely depression, as I said, I was chief consultant for this depression, mainly not only the psychiatric problems in many hospitals in Bangalore for depression. And I have seen people oblige all by themselves and coming back to the roots and getting into the balance and recovering from depression. That should be a choice. I will be depressed or I'll come out of the depression is also the choice of the person. If they are pushed into the clinics, if they are forcibly brought by somebody, if they volunteer, only I have seen the person who has volunteered has the highest success rate, because somewhere inside they are depressed, somewhere inside there is also a positive attitude and also an awareness that I suffer from this problem, I need to come out. There is the light at the end of the tunnel.
There is a question on, the touch of the therapist or a doctor can be very assuring. And I have heard from one of the European Ayurveda practitioner that the moment for whatever disease, she usually sees female clients. So whenever a person, any female from that Europe country comes with any problem and she starts massaging, just with a few caring touch and few massage beats, the patient starts crying and all the emotions start coming out. So, the massage and Abhyanga and Shirodhara, etc. therapies can be of huge benefit. And there is a question on what is a depression as per Ayurveda? Someone has asked. So there are many references in which Shoka, Lobha, Mana, Irsha, etc. have been explained. So I have compiled a few. This is one of the previous easy Ayurveda classes for that. I had done this compilation. So in that, there is this mental urges that should be suppressed. This is as per Charak Samhita 7th chapter. He says, Lobha, Shoka, Bhaya, Krodha, Mana, Vegan, Vidharayat. So these are the Dharaniya Vegas. In that, Lobha, greed should be suppressed. So we want to buy something, better to withhold that urge rather than giving into our greed and buying that expensive thing which we do not need. And interestingly, Shoka, grief or depression, is explained as something which should be suppressed. So, in this, let me bring in this Elon Musk's example that he, with his marriage, he loses one of his sons. Suddenly, there's some illness, and within a short period of time, the parents unfortunately lose his son. And suddenly he becomes more active and takes care of his wife and indulges more in his work and gets busy with his work and family life and other things, so that he can quickly come out of that depressive episode. But he clearly thinks that there's no point in worrying about the past when we have so much to achieve and so much to live for the future. I also at this point remember a famous dialogue from Shawshank Redemption. In that he says, get busy living or get busy dying. You are either living or you are dying." Probably, Swami Vivekananda's quote of action is courage and death. So there's some quote I just forgot. I'll come back to that. So, anyways, I mean, even fear, anxiety should be suppressed. It is explained, and some more explanation regarding that is Agantuja Rogas. In that shoka, despair and grief or depression is explained as one of the exogenous cause for disease. So, even external events such as like a road traffic accident or death of a family member or friend can also be a cause of disease due to exogenous cause. And in the sadvrutta or self-restraint, it is explained, do not grieve continuously. There are other advice. For example, do not act on anger or excessive joy. Do not be over happy. That is also explained. And do not grieve continuously is also given as an advice. This is from Charaka Sutrasthana 8th chapter. And Mithya Yoga, wrong utilization of body, mind and speech. In that, interestingly, this shoka is explained as one of the wrong indulgence. Meaning, if there is a grief, of course, we need to grieve, but we need to quickly start finding out solution rather than immersing ourselves in a depressed mood. So on and so forth. I found a variety of things. Aggravated vata in the body can cause fear, grief, delusion, depression. Bhaya, Shoka, Moha, Dainya have been explained, and that's why the Snehana ovulation therapy indication also it is there. In the post Vamana management, anger and grief should be suppressed, or situation should not be caused, should not be created where the patient can get into anger or grief. So these are just a few, and there is a 6 type of atisara. There is this shokaja atisara, cause due to depression and anxiety, so on and so forth. And cause for shosha is explained as grief. So there are too many references. I just wanted to touch this point. And coming to a few other questions that are coming in the chat here. So if the patient is already on SSRI, meaning antidepressant medicine, then what should be done? Like if they want Ayurvedic treatment, what should be done? If the patient is taking antidepressant and that patient approaches Ayurveda, what should be done? So I have worked in a psychiatric nursing home, and any medicine, including these depressants, the patient is already taking. Guruji sir, suddenly stopping any medicine, especially antidepressant medicine, should not be done. First of all, if the patient is willing for natural measures, after taking due consent from the patient, Ayurveda therapies and medicine should be started, and only then gradually across few months, some attempt can be made to decrease the dose. Sir, please.
Definitely, that is the approach. Amshamsha Kalpana, Amshamsha adoption, what we call it as. Slowly we need to add the things of Ayurveda, and slowly when the things are still in a stable condition, only the modern medicines which are these SSRIs, that needs to be tapered down. It should not be suddenly removed. Many times if it is suddenly removed, then there will be rebound depression will occur. That's going to be causing a lot of issues with them. Because already they are taking these medicines for a month together and years together. Now they want to come out of that, but they have developed in a habituation with that. And if you stop those medicines, then there will be severe withdrawal symptoms, and you will go further down in the depression. So he needs to be counseled for that. And the treatment protocol for this depression is entirely in a very, the way we make the patient to feel comfort by way of words and counseling the part of it. Medication which are going to be Midrasayana supports these conditions. Then the therapy is required for that to improve, like Shirobhyanga, Shirodhara, Shiropichu and such type of things. Even Nasya to some extent. And these things are combinedly done, and along with some herbo minerals like Manasamitra Vataka and something like that of that nature. If it is combined and continuously taken care of, then there is a chance of that person can come out. But I have seen certain patients of depression, they're bound to be happy in branding themselves as they are depression patients. They'll feel that I am on depression and I am taking medicine for depression since so many days. Then I said, what is the reason for that? And why you want to call yourself as a depressed one? You are doing all sort of day work and you are doing good. Where is the depression? What is the reason for depression? Please come out of those things, and you, because the basic thing is that sankalpa or the thought process in your mind. If you insert a thought that in your mind that I am depressed, I am deprived of the thing which is certainly required for me, that itself is a point of starting for the triggering these entire series of issues with depression. First of all, you need to say that I am not depressed, I am very well, I am happy. If you put these things, then that such positive vibes only will travel all across your body and mind, and things will be settled down slowly. If you are doing in such a wrong way that I have a depression, I'm a patient of depression, I'm taking medicine from doctor so and so for so many years, I am depression patient. So you are trying to insert an information, or you're trying to put your brain that information that you are a person of depression and you are on antidepressants, and that information is going on producing a negative wave in your brain, and you feel that you are a depression patient. You are a patient with depression. So that needs to be first countered. You are not a patient of depression. You had some issues. Now you are out of it. And you are already good. You are doing well. You come take these medicines. It will further help your decision making and learning abilities, and you are doing good things, and everything will be fine. And if any issues with the family, if it is been mentioned, many times even I used to tell to my patient that who has not had a problem with the family. When there are two people are there, then there will be some issues. You cannot have 100% say yes to each and every your decision and your opinions. Opinion matters. When you are compromised and when you are doing a good thing, then definitely there will be something from your partner or a counterpart or a person who is near to you will have their own way of saying the things. We need to succumb to that. We need to understand that, and we need to respect those feelings. And once we do all these things, then only the bonding will help, and then we'll be doing a very good job, and we'll not be losing our strength in the form of that depression and all those things. So we need to develop these type of atmosphere, particularly for any person who is having suffering from these type of issues.
Yeah, so sometimes labeling someone as like you're under depression or you're a depression patient and you need medicines for years together, that itself labeling can produce a negative feedback cycle. Just that labeling, they cannot sometimes get away easily. Whereas you can say that this is just a temporary state of a low mood that you have, and you can overcome it and count your blessings, count your strength, act upon act upon your strengths. Then things can be put in a much stronger way. And the Swami Vivekananda's statement that I missed is strength is life and weakness is death. Just like positive notes like this, and also to get from negative feedback cycle to positive feedback cycle. The Divine Park Spiritual Organization from Saligrama Udupi, they preach that everybody, when they wake up, soon after waking up, they should put their hand on their heart, sit right, and say, day by day, in every way, I am getting better and better. There's also many techniques like writing self notes or writing diaries, where you write only about your strength rather than worrying about your weaknesses. All those things are there as techniques to come out of depression. Medicines are just one among the many different tools. Coming to another question which has come in the way, I wonder if in many cases, especially in developed countries, depression is caused by poor eating habits, different take there, untimely incompatible foods, as well as sleeping at the wrong hours, not spending time in nature. I used to have depression which entirely went away once I started waking up at the Brahmi Muhurta, or at least before 6 a.m. where the kapha time usually starts. Even though I live in a very gloomy climate, Seattle area, I no longer suffer from ASAD or depression. Simply because I get up early and go outside for sunrise. That's why the Dinacharya guidelines and even the Rutucharya guidelines are so important, that other than putting you into a healthy daily routine, puts you into a practice that these are the things that you have to do at the right time, no matter what. Wake up early in the Brahmi Muhurta before sunrise, do Abhyanga. Raghuram sir, these Dinacharya itself is a form of a therapy, and healthy diet, maintaining Agni, low Agni and ama can easily cause depression. So healthy diet and dinacharya play a vital role in coming out of depression. Raghuram sir, please.
Absolutely, sir. Dinacharya and Rutucharya are the roots of well-being. Definitely, one needs to follow, and how far we can follow also puts an impact because these need to be consistently followed. So it is also a practice. Dinacharya is a practice. Rutucharya is a practice, and adapting to the Rutu Sandhi and the transition phase between the Rutus is also very important. Having said that, constant practice, I would like to insist, constant practice is very important. Again, there may be a question whether we will be able to follow the Dinacharya and Rutucharya explained in the textbook. It is very, very difficult. At least as someone pointed out that started waking up at Brahma Muhurta. We can take an initiative for that, going to bed early and arranging and also customizing the protocol and the blueprint of our life is very important. It need not be textual. It need not be, if I am X, my lifestyle, Dinacharya and Rutucharya, the seasonal adaptation may not be like MN, O, or YZ. It can be confined to me, X. I can prepare my protocol the way I want to live. So, of course, borrowing the concepts from Dinacharya, borrowing the concepts from Rutucharya, abiding to those classical explanations, I can customize my own protocol as suitable to me, and if my family members also, if they're fine enough, they can follow that, so that we will be in sync. We'll be doing the same things at the same time. So my breakfast time and their breakfast time will also match, my dinner and their dinner, my sleep time, their sleep time also will. So this comes to the family manners and also the family practices, family table, everything, even for dining, the same time used. So everything allotted. Very, very difficult schedules to follow. But if we can customize, that will be very important. Those who are not in families, those who are single and tend to be depressive can follow this by customizing Dinacharya and Rutucharya according to their needs. What is in their comfort zone? What is their limitations? How much they can follow? They can seek the help of a lifestyle therapist, Ayurveda lifestyle therapist, who are well versed with advising this Dinacharya and Rutucharya protocol, and who can customize them for them according to their needs, their foods, their habits, their practices, everything, and try to follow similar thing throughout first 1 month, then 3 months, then 6 months, then 9 months. So it should be a gradual practice until the person gets accustomed to that. It is said that doing a few times, maybe continuously for 1 month, the human brain will be very much trained to do the same things very regularly. So the person will get accustomed to this Dinacharya and Rutucharya. So beautifully explained by that person, whoever has put that person staying in Seattle. So once again, we need to see the food habits and activities when we are mentioning each and every Vyadhi Prakarana, each and every disease explained in Ayurveda, in the Nidanas, that is the causative factors, Ahara and Vihara, that is the foods and activities which are causing those particular diseases have been particularly specified. Even in the contradictions, they are specified. In Patya Patya also, they have been specified. Following those things, when we are prone to physical disorders or mental disorders, will definitely work.
Thank you, sir. Guru sir, please.
So definitely, poor eating habit may produce depression, and even depression can produce a poor eating habits. So it is from both the direction. See, probably a person might have stopped eating or he don't want to take many things because of some depressive thoughts or something like that. What is there in life? Nothing is going to be in my way. Just leave it off. And these things may induce a negative feedback, and your digestive fire is low, and you're not interested in eating, and totally the poor eating and deficiency in particularly the nutrition, then they may land up in trouble. That is also one way directly what we observe. The other way is that even because of the poor eating habits, the person may develop all these things and ultimately land in depression. So it's both the way we need to understand.
Yes, sir. Even I myself have seen that if I have taken, say, restaurant food or not being disciplined in the food and not doing exercise a few days because of various busy in the work or any laziness or any other reason, the mood starts decreasing and mood and mental energy starts declining. And if that again leads to wrong food habits, and it becomes like a vicious cycle. The only way to come out of it is like willfully, like the acharyas have explained, willfully break the cycle and do the right thing. Get up early in the morning, go to exercise, and follow the Dinacharya, Rutucharya, etc., and fall into right eating habits. So and out for healthy foods. Probably that is the way to go. And coming to another comment here, the role of family members. family members also need therapy. This is one of the important part of counseling, that when you're treating a depression patient, you need to take their family members or friends, whoever is close, near and dear to the client, into confidence and explain the things. One education therapy for them would be to watch for the suicidal ideation, and do not leave the patient alone. That if the patient is having a deep depression, severe form of depression. And another one is to keep the patient busy, engage in talk, encourage them to play outdoor games, or go to events together, so on and so forth. So having the person counseled by a Vaidya is useful, but a lot of times after the person comes back home, he or she will go through the cycle again. This is where medicines and therapies come into picture. Just counseling has become a kind of a fancy word. Counseling solves many problems, but it also not solve many problems. And counselor has the skill and competency and training to talk to the patient, but the family members do not have the talking and listening skills. So family also needs therapy, as they don't have the ability to dispassionately listen and maybe source of negative feedback. So it might have to be a teamwork. Yeah, and with the family members, I have seen that a person who is depressed, the family members will not be knowing that the person is undergoing depression. So they think that the person is lazy and not putting an effort, eating at right time, waking up at right time, or doing his work. All those things the person will not be able to cope up and do. Family members displeasure and disappointment over this depressed person keeps on growing, without them realizing that the person could be under depression. He needs really care, and we need to take a step back. We need to take the person into confidence. All those things get missed. And so especially if the family member or friend is impatient and scolds and abuses the this depressed patient, being a lazy fellow and all, it only will cause lot of problems. So family care is so very important. Actually, is Dinacharya and food habits included in counseling patient as part of patient education? Yes, it should be. If not, it should be. Do Vaidyas refer them to Ayurvedic lifestyle during treatment? Yes, it is done very, very frequently. And then there is this waking up early problem. Some people say they are a night chronic type and they can't wake up early. This is something discussed in Ayurveda, that some people are night owls and some people are morning larks. Guru sir, your comments on this, please.
Of course, I think about what is the right kind of thing for a human being. It has been explained in Ayurveda. So that is one thing. Of course, but our lifestyle has changed because of the invention of so many things, wheels, electricity, light, and so many gadgets and all those things. So we are sleeping very late in that requires some training. Slowly shift back and turn back. At least you get up in Brahmi Muhurta. Accordingly, before that, at least 7 hours earlier, you go for the bed. So such type of attitudes and the things have been developed. Definitely, that is an inculcated habit. Definitely will help. The patient can encourage these things, and definitely that will help. But they very clearly suggested there is a reason for getting early Brahmi Muhurta one has to get up, because it will rejuvenate the body and mind in a very beautiful manner. But nowadays it has been very difficult for the people to get up in the Brahmi Muhurta. Maybe because they are all even working and seeing the mobiles and all, doing laptop works and all those things even till late night, 12 or 1. So that is a big issue that we need to come out of that by slowly, step by step, that needs to. But one has to observe that he may be a double graduate, he may be earning in 6 digits, or he have a very good thing, everything. But ultimately, all his day in and day out, his achievement, he needs to get to laugh or much for him. For that encouraging, for doing much and more of those things. So that is nothing but the family member. So holding a family bonding with people is very, very important to have very good mental stress. And of course, spiritual out in Canada, something like that, from the good talks from the seers, something like that. That type of things needs to be developed from the very beginning so that we can be achieved. And until unless we don't train them how you have to cheer up in the success, at the same time how you have to control or handle your failures, the depression will be a issue. If we are able to control and understand and how to handle our failures and loss or weakness, we are in a very difficult state of mind that we may end up in trouble. So one has to be very, very clear in his thoughts, and encouragement from the supporting field. From the family members and the surrounding people, or even the workplace. Everybody has their own role to play. And if we are mentally and physically fit, then only we are swastha.
And I've seen, like, I myself was a night owl for very long period of time. Even these days also, for some other work, sometimes things go out of control and I'll be awake till say 12 noon, 12 midnight, or like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. But and as we age, there are some people who would make this a habit, and it becomes kind of a okasatmya thing, that though it is not perfectly right, it suits them and they continue their lifestyle. For the most part, for myself, in my case, it was not manageable, meaning this big night owl and waking up very late would make me busy and drowsy, and in the morning hours till afternoon I would not be as productive as expected. Things start going south. So what I started doing is that exercise in the morning, and in the night time, head massage with coconut oil or Brahmi Taila, etc. So these, especially if it is put on the forehead and closed eyelids, if it is put, it makes us drowsy and naturally fall into sleep. And like Guru sir told, they're only asking you to wake up early. They're not asking you to cut down your sleep. So sleep for 7 hours, just is a matter of like adjustment of time, so that it can be done. It can be done with a lot of effort and willpower. Raghuram sir, please.
Only to add up the points for this discussion, sir. Since Ayurveda has said about Dinacharya and also Rutucharya, so many charyas have been said, what to do in the day, what to do in the night, probably without mentioning about night owls or morning larks. That may come as a part of practice. Now, one point I would like to stress here is the people who are working through the night shifts. There are many people who are working through the night shifts, and we can see plenty of health issues in those people because they are not being able to adapt to that particular work pattern, working through the night, coming in the morning, sleeping, and again getting up somewhere in the afternoon, getting ready for the work and going back to the work at evening, and that becomes a cycle. So gradually what happens, those people start feeling that it is quite natural and normal to them and get accustomed to that. And after that, if they are shifted to a morning shift, again the adjustment phenomenon comes there. They are not able to adjust to the morning shift. So here what is happening, what we need to observe is why they are frequently suffering from many disorders. A night shift person, when the person is shifted to a morning shift, will suffer from different set of problems than what he or she was suffering at the night shift. This happens because of one thing, a drastic change, and not able to adapt to the biological clock inside us, the circadian rhythm, what we can call it as. So a science which deals with that is called as chronobiology. I think we need to be very much aware about that, which chronobiology is a system which tells about the circadian rhythm, how the body, mind, and also our behaviors adapt to these particular changes in the day and changes in the night. When we see properly through the Dinacharya and Rutucharya, explained in Ayurveda, especially Dinacharya, Sayancharya, Ratricharya, they are the first ever possible explanations of chronobiology or the circadian rhythms. So when we do Brahmi Muhurta, when we get up at Brahmi Muhurta, Heber sir rightly pointed out the word effort. Lot of effort need to be put to practice these things on a regular basis. So when we do these things on a regular basis and throughout our life, probably these are the best way where we can escape the diseases. Many physical ailments, mental ailments, conditions like depression, anxiety, and almost everything, when we do according to a pattern, customizing the day according to our pattern. Brahmi Muhurta, not necessarily 3:45 or 4 o'clock. Customize your Brahmi Muhurta at 4:45, 5, 6, whatever, and make it a practice. And from there, go on spacing the things. And even sleeping at night, from there, your Brahmi Muhurta is a starting point of the end of the sleep cycle. That should be around 7.5, 8 hours, which is suitable for your age and as it happens. So when we are doing all these things, the rhythm, circadian rhythm or the biological clock, the intelligence, basic intelligence which runs each and every cell in our system will be trained to behave properly. When this is put into rhythm, I think everything will come into the line. For this, much of our efforts are needed, whether it is being a night owl or whatever it is there. So those people also, if the person works throughout the night and continues it for life, probably that may be the new thing for them. So that may be the healthy thing for them. And when they change that system, because the circadian rhythm now starts adjusting to that phenomenon, like even the Vegana Dharayat, the Vegas which should not be controlled in us, there is a circadian rhythm here. When I am getting a defecation reflex, when I think I'll do this work first and then go, I'll adjust my body so that I'm controlling my defecation reflex, the Purisha Vega. And later, when I go to the loo or the restroom, probably the intestines are not ready to throw away that waste. Same is the problem with the urination, with hunger, with sleep. When we go on postponing certain things, the circadian rhythm or the intelligence of the body will self-train itself that, okay, this person is doing to do this. Now, what is the basic function of the lower colon? To throw out the waste things out of the system. When we constantly withhold that, crossing those rules and regulations and make it a practice, why do people land up at constipation which cannot be remedied? Like they hardly find remedies. It is only because you are trained your lower intestine not to throw out. What was its basic intelligence? To throw out. With your practice and focusing on some other priorities, what you have trained your lower colon is not to throw out. Now intestine starts learning, okay, my job is not to throw out. My job is not to throw out. My job is not to throw out. So why does it learn? We are training our lower bowels to hold the things rather than evacuating the things. Then we'll end up with the constipation or some other chronic problem or intestine related problem. Then we run to the doctor. At that time, it may be too late for the remedy to be given. So probably it all goes through the practice, and the circadian rhythm should be trained with Dinacharya and Rutucharya, all those things. So this is not just an explanation in the text. They are totally scientific. Dinacharya, Sayancharya or the Rutucharya, whatever charyas have been explained, they have a scientific base.
So that comes to the wrap up of this session. Namaste. Thank you.